So we'll do my CrossFit story first.
Yeah, we're gonna start with your CrossFit story, girl. It's gonna be awesome. You ready to go? All right, guys, welcome to episode 3 of the CrossFit Bangor podcast. I got Coach Tiffany with me in the house.
What's up?
We're going to talk about a few things like scaling and scaling and her story. So, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm great, Zach. Thanks for inviting me to do this.
Oh,
I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, no, you invited me to do this.
I did. We are. You guys were actually in my office right now.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to kind of start with your CrossFit story. So for those that don't really know how you found CrossFit or what you've done, go ahead and let's find out.
So I discovered CrossFit in 2009. I was living in Brunswick at the time, and even prior to that, I'd always worked out. I was a personal trainer for a long time, so I'd been in the fitness world for quite a while. Taught airobix in college.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I know. Step aerobics,
Nice.
water aerobics. I taught cycling, Pilates. I was full into it. Prior to that, so if we go all the way back to college, I'm a community health education major. I double minored in exercise science and nutrition. I forgot the second.
So much stuff.
So much education.
So
and
good.
I went to the University of Farmington. So post-college, did some personal training, and I would drive by this gym in Brunswick, and they were doing all this crazy stuff, and I kind of knew what CrossFit was. But they were running outside with plates over their heads, and they were throwing wall balls, and I thought, working out for me had kind of become boring. Where I wasn't going anywhere with it anymore. It was getting boring, and I thought, I really need to shake things up. I need to go see what this is all about. Stopped in on a Saturday, met the owner, and he let me roll right into the free class, is what they used to call it. So I attended free class and thought I knew what fitness was. It turns out I did not. And things were really hard. I didn't squat below parallel. I couldn't hit the wall ball target. Overhead squatting was impossible.
What was fitness for you before you got there?
Fitness for me was just moving. I had a desk job where I didn't move very much. I sat a lot. I rode my bike, but I did a lot of things alone. I hadn't been on a team sport since high school, and I swam. So fitness just meant I could eat food if I wanted to. I could sweat and then feel good. I wasn't injured, but I was moving. I was trying to keep my life really, really balanced. So that's what fitness was for me at the time. So getting into CrossFit, I was like, I need something a little bit more intense. My life is very sedentary during the day, during my work day, so my activity outside of work had to be the exact opposite. It had to be really, really active. So I found CrossFit, and I literally had my butt handed to me in my first class.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is really hard. What can I do? How do I get in here? How do I do more? Didn't do on-ramp. Those were the days where on-ramp didn't exist.
Yeah.
So you all are very lucky that you have coaches now that have gone through an on-ramp or have figured things out in the process, because I was a little bit drinking water from a fire hose at that point. It was a lot of information.
Yeah.
In
Were you just
short
learning
amount of
as you
time.
went?
I had the basics. I knew what a squat was. I knew how to run. I knew how to swing a kettlebell. I could not do a pull-up. I had to use a band for about 6 months. So everything we figured it out together. You know, we would try things. You can't squat low enough. Okay, I'm going to have you squat to a ball, which I certainly did. I couldn't keep a pull-up yet. I couldn't do a standard push-up. I had to do them on my knees. And I thought, this is hard. This is really hard. But how do I get better? What do I need to do? I need to practice. I need to keep showing up, and I need to keep asking questions. Now, keep in mind, I was a personal trainer. So I knew how to lift weights. I knew how to be strong. But I didn't know how to add intensity.
Right.
So I didn't know how to climb the ladder, how to respect the process. So I had to learn. I had to learn right from the beginning. I had to ask coaches. I did a lot of research, lots of Googling. Finally, I decided to get my L1, so I was a level 1 trainer. Went through that, started coaching some classes. I figured out even more about coaching through them, so I had to figure out how to scale things. How do I say things? How do I have you try things? When do I have you try things? So it was a process. It took a long time. So 5 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm now a level 2 trainer.
Very cool.
So I've done a lot. I've done a lot of experimenting, and some of it's been good. Sometimes I've messed up. Some things have been great, and when you find something that works great, you can even make it better. So I love being a resource for athletes. If I can't figure something out, I will help you figure it out. We'll find a way. We'll build something. We'll practice. We'll practice drills, or we just kind of play. And in the process of playing, you discover what works, and you discover intensity, and you discover that you can do better things, and you can challenge yourself. So my CrossFit stories lasted about 8 years. I hope it goes further and longer, and I can keep training, and I can keep coaching, and keep helping everybody here. So
we're so glad to have you.
Thank you.
That's so awesome.
I'm super excited.
Very
to be
cool.
Here. Yeah. So it's still evolving.
Yeah.
All these years later, I'm still learning.
Yeah. To put you on a spot, something I think would be super valuable for everyone and for me too is what's a couple things that you wish you knew back then, way back in 2008, right?
Oh man.
What is a couple things, even one thing you wish if you could coach yourself,
yep.
like the 2008 Tiffany,
yep.
like with the badass Tiffany now, what would you tell yourself back then?
I would say always do a warm-up. That was a big thing. So sometimes classes were a little unorganized way back when. This was when CrossFit was still new. And it was a lot of us just getting together and we would work out. And which means you just kind of roll into the workout. Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough, knock on wood, that I never injured myself. But I would say always do a proper warm-up. Practice the movements you're going to see. And ask the coach. Ask the coach. I always ask, but I would still say ask the coach. The other thing I would do, and I would tell Tiffany in 2008 not to cherry pick. Because I would see something that really scared me, like the workout Angie. So Angie was like 100 of everything, 100 pull-ups, 100 squats, 100 ab mat sit-ups. And I thought, that workout looks really, really challenging. I really don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, or I'm going to use a really thick band for my pull-ups because I know I can do 100 with a thick band. Kept the intensity where it should have been, but I skipped a lot of those workouts. Anything with long running, I would have skipped. So good warm-up, practice your technique, ask the coach, and don't cherry pick. We can find a way for you to modify if you're going to come in and it's still intimidating, but let's dabble in it a little bit. Let's get a little bit uncomfortable. It makes us better. Because by the time I finally stopped cherry picking and I did the workouts, I was like, that wasn't that bad.
Right.
I can come back and do this tomorrow.
Cool. So like do on-ramp.
Do on-ramp, yes.
Yeah.
Do on-ramp.
You wish that was there, right?
Earn that barbell. I know everyone says, oh, the PVC pipe is not very heavy. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Respect the process. If you can do it with a PVC pipe, let us then see you do it, and then you can earn that barbell, and you'll feel so much better than if we just give it to you.
Yeah, I feel
not given.
I feel like we don't really appreciate on-ramp until like 3 months or years down the road. I'm like, okay, I get what Tiffany was telling me. I get why we're doing that.
That's why we did the drills. That's why she had me repeat it so many times.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll segue a little bit into the kind of the main point of why I got you here. We're going to talk about scaling and intensity. This kind of is a perfect timing because we just released a blog post about our new open performance and fitness tracks, if you will. If you want to kind of talk about scaling and those tracks and what are your thoughts on it?
So we always see the workout on the board when we all have our little town meeting at the beginning of class, and the coach says, "All right, everyone, here's the workout." For instance, today it's deadlifts. It's we're doing wall balls around the bike, and we say the deadlift for the women is going to be 155 pounds. For men, it's 185. And I look across the room and I think, awesome opportunity for everyone to scale. Well, what does that mean? It means that you're going to work out at an intensity where you can maintain your form, but you can keep moving. Okay, so if somebody doesn't think that they can move that 55 pound barbell, say female, then let's drop down the weight a little bit. That means that your form's going to be intact, you're going to be moving safely, and you're going to still be able to move quickly, so without injury.
Right.
I think when they see those weights on the board, sometimes they want to strive to do that. That's the ultimate goal. I'm in CrossFit. That's exactly what coach is telling me to do, and that is not the case. We want you to scale to your abilities, and that does not mean that is a dirty word. Some people will say at the end of a workout, we give high fives all around. Great job, great job.
Yeah.
Oh, but I scaled it, the athlete will say.
Right.
And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so glad you did that.
Exactly.
Scaling is not a bad word. That means that you chose a weight that was still challenging for you. You finished the workout. You got a great time. You got your sweat on, and you're still able to walk up right out the door and carry on with your life. You're not going to let it change you at all.
We actually saw Rob post about that. I don't know if you saw that on the Facebook page. I right before we recorded this, I saw Rob posting about that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you found that sometimes scaling a workout makes it worse?
Scaling a workout does make it worse.
Yeah.
So say for me, so if I don't know if everyone knows me since we're on a podcast here, but I'm a really tall athlete. I'm 6 feet tall, and things like gymnastics for me are hard. Gymnastics being pull-ups and things like handstand push-ups. That's a really difficult movement for me, a handstand push-up, going upside down. I have very long arms, and it's by no means an excuse, but it is that my body mechanics are a little different. So in a workout like Diane, so Diane is deadlifts and handstand push-ups. I've got to scale the handstand push-up to a regular push-up. That means that my core is locked in. There's no kipping involved. I can't use any extra momentum. And a standard push-up for me is going to be really hard. And by the time I'm done with that workout, I'm cooked. Right. And I think that push-up was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life after deadlifts.
Right.
So scaling does not necessarily mean that workout's now going to be easier. Sometimes it means now I've got to move faster.
Oh,
and
there's
it's gonna
that
hurt
word.
even more. So it's going to hurt even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's funny too, I think, let's say that the workout was RX push-ups, and you did the same thing.
Yep.
What would your perception of the workout be different?
No, I think it would still mean I had to do something a little different. That means maybe I have to move a little faster.
Exactly.
Yeah. So scaling up is also an option. When we say scaling, we always think less reps, less weight, lower time. But you know what? You can scale up a workout.
Right.
Okay? You can add a little bit more weight as long as you're moving well. We can change something a little bit, and we can scale the workout in a different direction.
Yep.
So that's always an option. So if I say to you, Zach, you scaled that workout, but that means you did something maybe a little bit above your skill set, I'd be like, that's awesome. You made a great choice.
Right. Using that same example, Mel and I did Diane when it came up a couple weeks ago, and instead of handstand push-ups, we did the dumbbell strict press. I was like 4 seconds slower than my handstand push-up, and that was under the performance, and it would technically have been, if we used our old model, like a level 2, you know, option. It's, you know, quote unquote, easier option, and I was 4 seconds slower than my best Diane time. So it's 100% subjective on like what's harder, what's easier, and it's all about perception.
It is.
You know, I did not look down on that workout because it was lesser, if you will, on that board. I thought that workout was horrible.
Yeah, I actually might have resorted to Tiffany in 2009, and I might have cherry picked that one, and I think I skipped that day. So
we've all done that.
Yeah,
we all do, and I mean, I still do this to this day. There's some days where I'm like, 75 cal assault bike, maybe not today.
Maybe 75.
I will make myself do it today for sure, but I think that's a good sign of a mature athlete, is attacking your weaknesses headstrong.
But I like what you mentioned, the new models. So we've got these new models on the board. When we have that town meeting again, we go to the whiteboard and we have our athletes join around us, and we no longer see RX level 1, level 2. We're seeing open, performance, and fitness. So I think that is an awesome opportunity to remind everybody that if you choose the fitness track and you do that workout just as it's written, you are now doing that workout as prescribed, as we intended it.
RX. Yeah.
So that's a great feeling. Like we gave you the model, you were able to adapt and choose, and you completed that workout. Maybe it was really challenging for you, but feel good about that when you get that on the leaderboard and you put it in the tribe. That was your opportunity to challenge yourself that day.
Right.
You chose that track and you succeeded. So that's what we're looking for as coaches, that you're coachable. You can choose your own track and you can still challenge yourself.
Absolutely. What track do you find yourself in?
I'm kind of in the open and fitness right now. There are some things I
so you kind of bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So I try to do a little of both. Sometimes I do need to move a little faster, so I know if it's going to be running with something, I might have to dial back the weights on things.
Cool.
And my goal is to try to go, do the open again this year, and my goal is to try to do them as they're prescribed. But that changes, and sometimes in my training I have to adapt quickly.
Right. Very cool. So going into the open, we can talk about your goals a little bit more specifically. I mean, you're not trying to go to the games. You know,
no.
The open does not mean that you have to be doing
is if you ever did organized sports, the open is game day. We practice as a team, and the open comes up. That's our season. I'm using air quotes right now. You guys can't see it. That's our season. So when we get to the open, I'm excited. I put in a lot of hard work, and this is one workout a week that I'm going to have a judge, and they're going to count my reps, and when I don't succeed, I know I've got to change something. So it's making me adaptable. But I feel like that's game day. Let's put all that training to the test. Let's see how it goes. I tend to not repeat workouts. I don't know if anyone's done the open before, but you have the opportunity to try it again. And I usually think first time through that workout is the best I can give.
Right.
And game day, you don't get a second opportunity. So I try to kind of go in with that mentality. It's just another workout. I'm going to challenge myself. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Sometimes it goes great, and I think, awesome. And then sometimes I'm disappointed, but I'm like, you know what? I did the best I could in that workout.
Right.
On to the next day.
Very cool. Then you can approach the open in a ton of different ways.
Sure
You know,
can.
you can do it that way, and I think that's a great way. Honestly, I think for most people, I think that's fantastic. And for some, they want to go at it 3 times, and that's fine if that's their goal. That's their goal. But I think it goes to show that you don't have to put yourself in a box. Now, does the time of year change your goals? Like sometime maybe in the summertime you focus more on strength, and that's why you maybe more fitness. Maybe you're just working on getting sweaty, maybe doing some more benching or bro stuff, and then maybe you dial it into the open. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like just kind of ebb and flow. You don't have to necessarily be stuck in one.
I think I ebb and flow.
Yeah.
There are days I feel like I need a long sweaty Metcon. We know we need to move. I want to move for 20 minutes or more.
Mm-hmm.
Like an AMRAP. Or there's days I'm like, I really feel like I just want to do a little bit more strength work. I feel like I'm a little unbalanced.
Go a little heavier.
Go a little heavier on certain days, and then I still want to sweat. I want to do a little Metcon at the end. So I want to keep it balanced. I always make sure I have at least 2 rest days a week. I usually try to work out 3 days in a row. Then I take a rest day. And that for me is still kind of being active. I'm still coaching. My nutrition's still really good, but I'm not going to do anything super heavy and taxing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let my body rest. I'm going to get a good night's sleep, so that I'm super excited when I do get in the gym again. I'm ready to go. I feel great.
Awesome.
I take some rest days. I've got to.
Oh, of course.
I think everyone does.
Yeah. All right. So I want to kind of dive into scaling specifically. What do you think is the keys to successfully scaling a workout? And we can use any example you want, but like what are you honing in on for people that you're hoping they take away from this in terms of scaling?
So we can use a workout example we all very familiar with, and that's Fran. We talk about Fran a lot, and if you're out in the CrossFit world in the community and you find another CrossFitter, you always have, what's your Fran time? Yeah. So Fran is 21:15:9 of thrusters and pull-ups, so it ends up being 45 reps of everything. So when we program Fran, we're looking for a workout that allows you to work through your fullest range of motion on the thrusters, so locking out that barbell on top, and a pull-up where your arms are fully extended in the hang and your chin's over the bar. That's the standard for us. And we're looking for you to move quickly. We want you to take little rest breaks, okay? And we want you to do as many of those movements unbroken. Now, if you're thinking as an athlete, the 95-pound barbell for the men and 65 pounds for the women is doable and obtainable, but once those reps start to layer up and you're in that second round and things are starting to struggle and you're taking lots of breaks, the intensity goes away.
Right.
And we're staring at the bar and nothing's now happening.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a game plan. We're going into panic mode. Way before that, we should have done some sort of practice. We either talk with the coach or maybe we try out that barbell movement layered with some pull-ups. We're going to see, do we need to take as many rest breaks if we lighten the load a little bit? Okay, if we give you a time domain of 5 minutes, I want you moving these 2 movements, these thrusters and pull-ups. I want you to complete this whole workout in less than 5 minutes. As you gain experience as an athlete, you can decide, I need to bring down the weight a little bit from that prescribed movement. Maybe I'm going to fitness track, and I'm going to take as little rest breaks as possible today. That's my goal. I'm going to try to do as many of those thrusters as I can before I put that barbell down. Now maybe I take a little bit more of a rest break on the pull-up, but that's my focus for today. I'm going to get this done in less than 5 minutes. I'm going to take fewer breaks on the thrusters, and I'm going to go as quickly as I can. So we're not looking for a workout that day specifically that takes you a very long time. We're not going to stretch it out.
Right.
So talking with the coach, trying things out. Again, we've all talked about experience. Can't rush it, can't rush the process. And then don't be afraid to fail. Yep. We don't want you to injure yourself. But we also want you to dabble in experimenting.
You got to try things out.
You got to try it out.
Yeah.
We don't know what we don't know. We've got the plan in front of us, but I don't know about all the other athletes and everyone that's listening. But I'm not a robot. I can't just program myself to say I'm going to be done in a certain amount of time.
Right.
I've got to try it out, and that's why CrossFit is observable, measurable, and repeatable. Mm-hmm. We've got Fran. We know the standard. We can try it again in 3 to 4 months. Let's measure it. How fast did we go this time? The time domain last time was 5 minutes. I got it done in 7. Let's see if I can bring that time down a little bit so it can be measured. And that's what scaling is. Okay. If you want to try that same weight again, say you brought the weight down, and you want to repeat the workout at the same weight again in 3 to 4 months, and you succeeded, great. The training is working. You're scaling appropriately. But now if it takes longer, then we've got to change something in the training. We've got to talk to the coach and find out where the holes in our game are a little bit.
Right. Okay, so if I'm an athlete you know, and
You
I'm
are.
I am an athlete. No, I'm an athlete. I'm kind of flirting, let's say, with performance and the open.
Yep.
I'm trying to get better at Fran.
Yep.
You know, my current time, if I do it RX, I keep to doing RX, and I'm like 10 plus minutes. You know, what's a couple things that I can do to get better at Fran? What should I be scaling? You know, I'm dropping the thrusters a lot. My pull-ups are 5 or less. You know, what's a few things that I can try to change to get that down?
If we're looking at a time domain like that, let's look at the weight first.
Okay.
Let's make sure that we're able to move through a full range of motion safely.
Okay.
Let's set a goal, okay, in the beginning of I want you to always do sets of 5. And if once you set down the bar after your set of 5, keep your hand on the bar. You'll hear me in class say, feel the steel. The chances of you feeling the steel, you guys like that, right? If your hands are on the bar, you're likely going to pick it up again.
Yeah.
So a little bit of this is not only
That's
body
hard.
training. Oh, it's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm a walker.
Brain
I
training.
like to walk around.
You like to walk around.
You gotta chalk up for the third time.
I
Chalk
gotta
my face.
up.
Chalk my armpits. All of it. You gotta just keep chalking it.
Anything to waste time.
Tie my
Water
shoes.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Untie my shoes, then retie them.
Exactly.
Keep going.
So, you got me off track.
So go lighter. So
Go
go
lighter,
lighter,
there we
right?
go.
So yeah, like I want to do better at RX. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I think, okay, I'm gonna keep doing RX. But
It's not the case.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we're programming for the gym, and I can't speak for all gyms, but in my experience, we're programming for our top tier athletes. So we're gonna scale for the majority, and I scale workouts still. Like I said, I use the example of Diane. Handstand push-ups for me are really difficult. Okay,
Yeah.
just because something's difficult doesn't mean we can't still choose something challenging that you can still succeed at. I think it's a great opportunity.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Intensity. What does intensity mean to you?
Moving quickly.
Moving quickly.
Moving quickly. That's one of them, and I know we have a very complicated algorithm.
Yeah.
What is it?
Force times distance over time.
That I say moving quickly, and Zach says this. So, but I want to keep moving. So again, you know, I know we're beating a dead horse with using Fran as the example.
Yep.
But we've got that as our task for the day, and if you were saying less than 5 minutes and your focus today is trying to do those thrusters unbroken, great, then that's your focus, that's your intensity for the day. Maybe the next time we try Fran, we do unbroken thrusters now, and then we try bigger sets of pull-ups. Okay, we've been practicing. Now we're using an example of Fran, but it could be anything. We're training you for the unknown and the unknowable. So Fran is something we all know. It's where we use the example quite a bit, but it kind of gives us an idea. We all know what it feels like to have Fran lung afterwards.
Yeah.
That dry cough. So that's because we're moving quickly. You know, we're not taking big breaks, and it's not an AMRAPs. We're not doing as many rounds of those movements as possible in the 5 minutes. We're trying to get through it as quick as we can.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, especially in the terms of time caps, like people treat those as AMRAPs.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I get 15 minutes. It's
Yes.
like, well, no, we're stopping at 15 minutes.
stop at
So
15
if you are time capping out all the time, now going back to the experiment, it's okay to time cap every once in a while because you tried something out. But if you're time capping out every single workout because you're kind of pushing that RX, you're losing intensity.
Yes.
Which is what we talk about, moving fast, force times distance over time, moving loads a long distance really quickly. If we're just, you know, constantly doing heavier weights or scaling options that are slowing us down and we're time capping out, we're kind of missing the boat there.
We are. And there's definitely a time and an opportunity to try something a little heavier.
Absolutely.
Or a little bit more intense. Or
and that might be the open.
That could be the
That
open.
could be a great opportunity to try things out as your kind of your yearly physical, your CrossFit physical,
yeah,
if you will.
we can measure it. So if you've competed in the open before and there's now a scaled option, the scaled option for pull-ups this year was pull-ups. And I think it was it chest to bar for RX? Do you remember in certain workouts? Or was
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
So still by no means was that easy. And I saw athletes get their first pull-up in the open, and that's awesome. Had we not been pushed to that, maybe you didn't know you could succeed in that.
Right.
The coaches are tough love sometimes, and you know we're not gonna force you into any one situation, but we're gonna guide you and help you along the way to help you achieve your goals. And everyone's goals are different, and they're not wrong.
Exactly.
They're
I
not
love
wrong.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. The way you just said it is not wrong.
Right.
I feel like people's intentions when they walk through the door are very pure, and they have like this idea of what they want, and they lose that in the chase of something that they really don't want.
Yeah, we all
in
want
that
something
RX
different.
Spartan.
Yep.
Right.
So don't worry about the RX button, guys. Stay in touch with your coaches. Again, choose your path. we all have different goals, and if we interviewed everybody in the gym, everyone's goals are probably going to be a little bit different. Also here as the community, but it changes for everybody. Yeah. They want to just work out 3 days a week. They want to feel awesome in their life. Some people want to compete in the open. Some people are going to compete in the open for their first time. Competing is definitely an aspect of CrossFit. It doesn't have to be. Come in, be part of the community, work out, challenge yourself. I mean, it's called work for a reason. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Okay? CrossFit's not easy, and I give a lot of value to that. CrossFit is not easy, and I admire everyone that comes in and gives their best every single day.
Seriously.
I think it's so awesome. I'm honored to work with you guys.
And have fun.
And have fun.
Have fun. How can you not have fun?
I know.
I know. We have
way too much fun.
All right. Well, to wrap this up, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Yep.
The one thing that CrossFit has given you, what is that one thing? Everyone's kind of got that, we've heard some pretty inspiring stories that saved their, whether it saved their lives, or I have people that they're in their wedding. There's people from the gym in their wedding that they met here. What is that one thing that like kind of gets you?
It gives me all the feels.
Yeah, all those
gives
feels.
me all the feels. The one thing I've always taken away from CrossFit is I have never worked so hard in my life at something. And I think back to college and working at my master's and my other prior careers, and I must have not wanted it bad enough until I got here and I knew what hard work was, and I knew what it was like to fail, and I knew what it was like to have a goal and work towards that goal. It taught me how to work hard, and it taught me how to respect the process, because it was not given to me. By no means was any of this. I did not roll out of bed. If you listened right from the beginning, I told my CrossFit story. I woke up like this. But none of this was given to me. I had to work really, really hard, and I failed. Luckily, I've never been injured, knock on wood again, but it taught me that it does not just happen. I had to make it happen. I had to figure out a way. So with all my relationships, my jobs, anything I've experienced in my life, CrossFit has told me that the barbell is going to never lie, and it's going to have to be earned, and it's not given. So earned, not given.
Boom. Thank you.
Knowledge.
You're awesome.
Thanks, you are too. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you have a question that you want us to answer on this podcast, please leave a comment. You can find us on iTunes, at CrossFitBangor.com, and on Instagram, on the gram. It's always for the gram. And on Facebook. Thanks for listening, guys.